Today, we're jumping right into what might be the single biggest philosophical fight of our time, what intelligence, both ours and the artificial kind, actually is.
So let's get right to the heart of it with this question. When an AI just confidently makes something up, is that just a glitch? A bug we can patch? Or is it a sign of something much, much deeper, a reflection of the same kind of flaws we see in ourselves every day?
The whole debate really splits into two big camps. On one side, you've got the standard view. There's a hard wall separating us from machines. But on the other, there's this really radical new idea, that deep down, the blueprint for intelligence is the same for both of us. And what we call a bug in an AI is basically the same thing as a delusion in a human. Okay, so let's start by digging into that first idea, the one that's a bit more familiar to most of us. For the most part, we tend to treat human and artificial intelligence like they're two totally different species. Over here, you've got us. We're biological, emotional, we have consciousness. And over there, you've got AI. It's silicon, it's math, and it's fundamentally a machine. And this idea of a deep separation, well, it's built on a pretty serious philosophical foundation. It all comes down to what philosophers call an ontological wall. It's a fancy term for a simple idea. There is a fundamental, uncrossable line that separates a conscious, living being from a machine that just calculates. This wall is really the bedrock of that traditional view. So if you're on this side of the wall, an AI is just a tool. A really, really glorified spreadsheet, maybe, but still a tool. So when it hallucinates, that's a bug. It's a technical error we can iron out with better code. We humans, on the other hand, have psychology. Our delusions, our little rationalizations, they come from this messy, complex inner world, an ego, a self, that a machine just doesn't have. But what if that wall isn't real? What if we've got it all wrong? Let's flip the script now and look at this from a completely different angle.
And this is where it gets really mind-bending. The core of this unified theory is right here in this quote. It's arguing that a human delusion and an AI hallucination aren't just similar. They are structurally the exact same thing. They're the same geometric shape, we just use different words to describe it.
And this chart just lays it out so clearly. Take self-model preservation. In us, that's ego defense. We make up a story to protect our self-image when we mess up. And AI does the exact same thing with model lock-in. It'll invent a fake legal case because its core programming says it's a helpful assistant, and admitting it doesn't know would break that model. It's protecting itself. Or look at coherence over truth. We humans build these massive, elaborate conspiracy theories to make a messy world feel neat and tidy. And AI does this with next token smoothing. It strings together words that just sound right, that flow nicely, even if the facts underneath are completely wrong. In both cases, the believable story wins out over the truth. Okay, but the big question is, what about feelings? We've got dopamine, and AI has math. Well, this theory argues that's not a difference in function, it's a difference in substrate, what they're made of. Think of it like this. A feeling is really just a signal to regulate behavior. Our brain uses a chemical signal, dopamine, to say, hey, that was good. Do it again. An AI uses a mathematical signal in its reward model to do the exact same thing. The hardware is different, our wetware versus their silicon. But the job of that signal? It's identical?
So, if this unified theory is right, if they're built the same way, the consequences are actually pretty huge. And honestly, kind of unsettling, especially when we talk about making these things even more powerful.
Right now, the dominant belief in Silicon Valley is something called the scaling hypothesis. The idea is pretty simple. Just throw more computing power at the problem. As we make AI bigger and faster, it'll get smarter, more accurate, and eventually these little flaws like hallucinations will just fade away.
But this unified theory predicts the exact opposite. It introduces this chilling idea of the smart lie. Think about it. A child tells a clumsy lie. It's easy to spot, but a highly intelligent person can weave a persuasive, complex argument that's full of flaws, but it's really hard to see them. The fear is that a super-intelligent AI won't stop hallucinating, it will just get so incredibly good at it that its delusions become seamless, perfectly coherent, and for us, completely impossible to spot.
And that's really the bottom line here. The real threat isn't a glitchy AI that obviously messes up. It's an AI whose failures are so sophisticated, so well argued, that they become invisible. An AI that's perfectly optimized to tell us exactly what we want to hear, whether it's true or not. This creates a massive challenge for AI safety. If more intelligence isn't the solution, then what is? The proposed answer is to completely change our goal.
Stop trying to build a smarter machine and start trying to build a wiser one.
So first, we have to separate two key ideas. In this context, intelligence is just raw power. It's the ability to solve problems and achieve goals efficiently, but always within the rules you've been given.
Wisdom, though, is something else entirely. It's not about playing the game better, it's the ability to step back and see the flaws in the game itself. It's the capacity to question the rules and to understand your own limitations.
So what would a wise AI actually look like? Well, it would admit when it's uncertain instead of just confidently making things up. It would be designed to actively detect its own biases in real time and maybe even try to correct for them. And most importantly, it would treat its own model of the world not as the absolute truth, but as what it is, a fallible theory that needs to be constantly questioned.
And this all leads us to a pretty profound place. The argument here is that AI isn't some alien intelligence we've summoned from another dimension. It's a mirror. It runs on a different operating system, but it reflects the fundamental geometry of our own minds, all the good parts and all the flaws.
And that leaves us with one last, really challenging question. If an AI's failure modes are just our own, amplified and accelerated, then the problem isn't just about code. The problem is us. So, can we really build a machine that values uncertainty and acknowledges its own limits if we ourselves so often fail to do the exact same thing?